going to learn about some of the resources that are available to help seniors who come from abroad and settle in the United States. It's often been said that we're a nation of immigrants, but while many of us share the immigrant experience, we hail from widely varying cultures. Seniors can be less adaptable to change than younger people and may feel lost in our society, particularly if they have trouble speaking English. Fortunately, some localities offer ways for seniors from other countries to learn and spend time together. For many Koreans in Vienna, Virginia, the Korean Central Senior Center is a lifeline.
Twice a week, this church sanctuary in Vienna, Virginia becomes the center of the universe for many in the local Korean senior citizens community.
Our Korean Senior Center started out of a ministry for elderly of the Korean Central Presbyterian Church, which I belong to. The church leaders recognized the need for a program for the elderly of our congregation, so they started a small program in 1994.
What began with 60 members in 1994 is now the gathering place for as many as 475. Every Tuesday and Friday, the seniors are bussed in from all over Northern Virginia. The morning starts with a prayer service, and then the participants, who speak almost exclusively Korean, can choose from 22 different classes, including English lessons.
My head hurts.
Some classes are practical. In the computer courses, the seniors learn how to use email and are able to communicate with friends and family back in Korea. Other classes are just plain fun. Knitting and indoor planting help them connect with friends. Still other classes, such as calligraphy, help them reconnect with their roots.
Without this kind of program, they are just sitting there in a nursing home, retirement home, and then because of the barriers that they have, language and cultural barriers, they are not really active. But coming here, now they can speak their own language, use the chance to grow and make even little impact.
When they come here, we provided all the programs in Korean language, which is their primary language, and we provide a program that is culturally appropriate. That means that we provide the Korean food, all the classes are conducted in Korean, so they don't have to deal with language issues.
The center also offers a class on citizenship, taught in Korean, except for the lesson's finale. Executive Director Heisung Lee strives to put the seniors in touch with government agencies that can address their needs.
I feel my role is a liaison person to bring the government services to our seniors who have a difficulty in accessing the services that provided by the government. At the same time, I help government to reach this population, usually very difficult to reach out because of the cultural issues, because of the language issues. So I am in between connecting government and this kind of difficult to reach the population.
One of the more popular classes is paper folding. The results are beautiful, but the benefits to seniors are also physical and mental. Working with small pieces of paper strengthens their motor skills, and counting the number of folds and pieces of paper keeps their minds active. Funding for the center is provided by the church, the county, and small payments from the seniors. All the workers and teachers are volunteers, including the kitchen staff, which prepares hot, healthy Korean lunches from scratch.
We give them a place to go at least once or twice a week, and social life, and also they enjoy gathering and then share some food together. That's the main thing. Learning and all the programs, they have classes, different classes, but that's a secondary reason. Mainly they want to come here for the social, I think.
I like coming senior center day every Tuesday. I enjoy I'm expecting. I'm waiting, next Tuesday. We're singing together, dancing together, and eating together. Everything is very happy to be here.
You get the sense that the people running the center are just as happy to be of help to their elders.
Just supporting old people and supporting our seniors, helping them to really enjoy their golden years. Isn't it wonderful? For help them to feel that they are not just a number or old person, but they are a part of the community and part of the church. Having the sense of significance in their life is really important, isn't it? Yeah.
It just gives us a sense of a community, and we are doing our older parents, and something that we can return to them, especially the generation who are in their 70s or 80s. They went through 3 wars in their lives, and in between, they have to live through all these guerrilla wars. So their life really were tougher than the lives that we are going through. So we really want them to have peaceful, enjoyable time toward the end of their lives.
We're happy to have with us today 2 people who can discuss the opportunities for immigrant seniors to connect with one another and learn about this country. Sharon Lynn is Assistant Director of Virginia's Fairfax County Area Agency on Aging, and Robert Logan is Deputy Director for Operations and Membership Services at the National Association of Area Agencies on Aging. Thanks to you both for being at the Daily Apple today.
Delighted
Mr. Logan, tell me, in terms of the number of immigrants that are actually here in the United States, of the 300 million Americans, how many are elderly immigrants?
Around 18%.
What are some of the challenges, Sharon, that you see that older immigrants incur every day?
One of the biggest challenges they face is learning English language, and it's quite difficult. You know, as a middle-aged adult, I know how difficult it is to learn a new language, and for a senior, it's even more so. So that is a barrier that keeps them often from knowing what services are available in the community and getting out of their homes. Sometimes they're very socially isolated.
Sure. Talking about socially isolated, what are some of the social and psychological problems they incur?
Well, immigrants, first of all, many of them come here to be with their children, and their children are in the workforce. And what we find is the children go to work, their parents are at home, and you're looking at areas like the West Coast or East Coast. There are definitely TV stations that are bilingual, but in the Midwest, in those areas, they're very isolated. There's no papers, there's no newsletters, there's no radio stations, there's no TV stations. Sure. They're by themselves.
That's very interesting. In terms of the language barrier, is it an issue or a challenge? Is there a hindrance because you can't actually provide educational programs that have that language barrier taken out of it, or is it fairly easy?
We are working very hard in Fairfax County to reach those groups of people that where English is not their primary language. For example, we know that in Fairfax County, the Asian and Pacific Islander groups, of that group, approximately 25% of them are what we call linguistically isolated, which means that no one in the house speaks English well.
Wow.
So they are even more isolated. So we have several programs going on trying to reach out to them.
Before we close, Mr. Logan, what immigrant families, how can they actually help the seniors get along in our society?
How can they help the
immigrant families? How can they help seniors that are immigrants get along?
Well, I think they have to make outreaches to the community and find out where groups are existing. For instance, like the Senior Center in Fairfax, what's available, and they need to make an effort to join organizations to get their parents and have them go somewhere during the day other than stay by themselves.
That's great information. We're going to be back in a moment. It's time for another short break. When we come back, we'll continue our discussion about the resources available to seniors from other cultures with Sharon Lynn and Robert Logan.
Who said? Every immigrant who comes here should be required within 5 years to learn English or leave the country. A. Theodore Roosevelt. B. William Taft. C. Grover Cleveland. Or D. Richard Nixon. Who said this? The answer is A, Theodore Roosevelt.
We're back to continue our conversation about resources for immigrant seniors with Sharon Lynn of Virginia's Fairfax County Area Agency on Aging and Robert Logan of the National Association of Area Agencies on Aging. So, Sharon, if I am an immigrant that's just come over and I'm having a language barrier, for instance, how do I find resources to help me?
If you have minimal English, you can certainly call in to information and assistance at Fairfax County and talk to someone who will get a translator on the line. We have interpreter services that we use so that we can speak to anyone in any language. But many seniors are reluctant to do that. Their English may not be good enough. So, for example, we started a new program we call our Korean Language Information and Assistance Program, and we use bilingual volunteers to talk with the seniors. We advertise this phone number in the community. The seniors can call in and leave a message in the Korean language. Then our volunteers check the message line and talk with them, find out what it is that they need to know about, what kind of needs they have, what their questions are. They can use our Senior Navigator program, which is a database of information on seniors for senior services across the state, and get back to them and tell them about the information that they want.
Right.
And they can also directly link them to services in Fairfax County.
Sure.
So it's kind of using an intermediary, someone that they're comfortable talking with who speaks their language.
Okay. Mr. Logan, in terms of ethnically based programs, how do they differ from traditional senior center programs?
Well, different in a lot of ways. For instance, nutrition. If you would fix somebody from the Pacific Islands sauerkraut and pork meal, it wouldn't be appreciated.
Not so much.
No, and so you know, if they're going to come to the center, you have to provide foods that are very familiar to their culture, and that's very important. That's what they expect.
Are many of the senior centers, I know the Korean Senior Center was started in a church. Do many of them have religiosity or religious background to them?
Most of the senior centers in Fairfax County are government supported, and they are generally not in churches. But that particular one, the Korean Central Senior Center, is a perfect example of volunteers all coming together and making something really work.
Sure.
That is one of our congregate meal sites, so they're supported with funding for their meal program. But all volunteers cook the meals each day. So it's a wonderful program.
What about some of the obstacles that come up when someone wants to start a senior center such as this? Are there many prejudices that you've come across nationally?
Not really the prejudiceness, more it's financial. I mean, you have institutional meal sites that have been there a long time, and they're pretty standardized in how they operate. With new people coming in, like I said, there's a diversity, there's the menu to look at, and people definitely, if they come from a different country and they speak a language, they want to be with people that they're like, that they understand. And it's just a matter of organizing that. And churches are a good way to do that. I've definitely, with the Chinese Federation, American Federation in the Cincinnati area, that was a group that came to us and said, we have this issue, we have this isolation, we know you don't have resources, but how do we do this? The interesting thing with that is we all agreed that we needed to do something, and we found ways to do it through foundations, through businesses, through a restaurant that wasn't open during the day, a Chinese restaurant. I mean, it's pretty amazing how the community backed that effort.
That's a great example. What are some other examples from a community perspective, or as an American-born citizen, I can do to help elderly immigrants?
Can certainly volunteer in the centers. Many of our senior centers that are not primarily for one ethnic group have multi-ethnic groups there, and so they're wonderful places to visit and be part of, and they always need volunteers, so we'd love to see that.
Are there specific federal or state or local laws that prohibit you from setting up certain kinds of centers for immigrants?
Not really. It's mostly resources that prevent it, and resources in this area are very limited. But no, they encourage it. The Older Americans Act is really big into protecting the frail and impaired and the isolated, and these people are isolated. So, I mean, we're really encouraged to do it.
Well, thank you both for being here. This was very informative. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.